Oh, Survivor Series, the redheaded stepchild of the big four PLEs. In the past, this show has just been relegated to the dumb idea of brand supremacy. Even though all involved work for the exact same company and will probably be on the opposite show in the following months. With the recent War Games integration, it feels like November will at least be an entertaining month for this Black Sheep pay-per-view. So instead of focusing on the doom and gloom, let's look back and see what has truly made Survivor Series so special. This is Extreme League Wrestling, and here are our top 10 most unforgettable Survivor Series moments. Number 10. Team Cena vs. Team Authority. Was the Authority storyline more tired than a mother of 10 during the holidays? Absolutely. But sometimes there can be a diamond in the rough WWE product. While the idea of Cena rising up against the company that he was the literal poster boy for is kind of hard to believe, this wasn't a showcase for the Invisible One. With the future of the Authority on the line, Big Match John needed a show-off. Down 3-1 to Team Authority, Dolph Ziggler was able to mount a valiant babyface comeback to send the Authority packing. A career highlight for Dolph Ziggler, even though the Authority would be back just a few weeks later. Check out this match if you want to truly see Ziggler's potential and why his 2023 release was so shocking. Number 9, Smackdown vs. Raw 2016. I still hold the same opinion as I did in the intro that Raw vs. Smackdown bullshit truly doesn't matter in Survivor Series, but sometimes it could truly produce a banger. With Brand Split 2.0 coming into full effect months before the pay-per-view, previous and current feuds were taken into account here with the booking. For example, Dean Ambrose aiding his Shield brothers in powerbombing his rival AJ Styles through the announce table despite him and AJ being on the same team. A star-studded match with greatest wrestler in the world, Shane McMahon. It was the first time in a long time the traditional elimination tag match felt like it had some reasoning behind it, not only for the teams themselves, but more importantly for the individuals involved. With new Wyatt family member Randy Orton taking the bullet for the Eater of Worlds, the final scene saw Bray Wyatt finally getting one over on the Shield to pick up the win for SmackDown. With this much effort being put into the booking, Raw vs. SmackDown elimination tag matches could be great once again, making this match a rarity in its era if you think about it. Number 8, Raw vs. SmackDown vs. NXT. NXT was a dirty little secret of WWE for the longest time. While putting on the best weekly TV and pay-per-views quietly on Tuesdays, it was a breath of fresh air compared to the suffering succotash that we were used to the flagship shows in the company putting out. So color the WWE Universe surprise when it was announced that NXT would be involved in that year's brand warfare. It was such a treat to see people like Adam Cole, Keith Lee, and Damian Priest tear it up with some of the main roster crew. But there's no way that they're all getting over, right? They beat the main roster 4-2-1. What the hell? The warranted worries of the NXT stars being treated like chumps compared to the main roster superstars quickly faded away for a moment. I guess thank God for Saudi Arabia flight issues. Number 7, Team Stone Cold vs. Team Bischoff. As a wrestling fan of my age, I was a little bit out of the age range to experience the full Monday Night War saga. But I was still able to buy into Stone Cold and Eric Bischoff having their tensions being co-general managers of Monday Night Raw. At this point, Stone Cold's in-ring career was slowly coming to an end after his infamous walkout. And after what would be his final match at WrestleMania 19, Bischoff banned him in his new authoritative role from getting physical with any wrestlers unless provoked. This would lead to that year's Survivor Series match. If Stone Cold won, the restrictions would be lifted. But if he lost, he would have to leave the company entirely. Considered to be one of the greatest elimination tag matches in company history in front of a rabid Texas crowd, Shawn Michaels on Team Stone Cold was down 3-1 and bleeding buckets like the Cowboys bleed cap space. After some Evolution interference, Randy Orton was able to put Shawn Michaels away and become the sole survivor. Austin ended that night on a touching speech talking about how his career started in Dallas, Texas, and that he was honored that it would end in Dallas, Texas. Given that it's WWE, of course, it was undercut weeks later as he would return as the Sheriff of Monday Night Raw. This match did not only elevate Shawn Michaels, but it started the legendary reputation of Randy Orton. Number 6, the Montreal Screw Job. Oh boy, look, it's that dead horse again. Look, the Screw Job has been talked to death on the internet wrestling discourse, but I truly think it's one of the best moments in this pay-per-view's history, and really one of the most important moments in the wrestling business as a whole. While this moment didn't single-handedly start the Attitude Era, it was a giant push into the biggest era that the business has ever seen. Between Vince McMahon finally being outed as the real owner of the WWF, to the Monday Night War getting a battery put into its back as wrestlers started to defect to other companies. With this blending of real world and kayfabe, while being talked to death, it is truly important and the wrestling world wouldn't be the same today without it. Number 5, Brock Lesnar vs. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. Believe it or not, Brock Lesnar has not always been the happy-go-lucky braided ponytail farmer we all know him as today. Post breaking The Undertaker's massive undefeated streak at WrestleMania, the legend of the Beast came into full form. Sure, at the time, he would have kind of repetitive matches sending people to Suplex City, and wasn't on weekly TV, which wasn't the style at the time. A very vocal part of the wrestling fan base found this run repetitive and boring, mainly because Brock was facing the same people and having the same match over and over again, i.e. suffering succotash pre-Tribal Chief Roman Reigns. A couple of Survivor Series though during this run would put the Beast in a different position. Lesnar would be forced into matches with the champions of the other brand, facing Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles in back-to-back years. In ring-wise, these are some of the best matches of Brock's career. The high-flying offense of AJ Styles and the technical wizardry of Bryan definitely did add for a lot of creativity in the match construction itself. Sure, Suplex City was still alive and well, but believe it or not, using different players with different movesets can lead to a more entertaining match, especially if we haven't seen it before. And I would personally like to thank the phenomenal one for saving us from Jinder Mahal versus Brock Lesnar. That is truly the darkest timeline. Number 4. Goldberg squashes Brock Lesnar. Sticking with our boy Big Beefy Brock, if you look up clusterfuck in the English dictionary, you'll probably find a picture of WrestleMania 20 and this encounter of these two beefy boys. Both men's plans to leave the company after this event were leaked to the dirt sheets, and the diehard MSG crowd was none too happy about it. It was weird, it was awkward, and we finally got a redo with both men 20 years later. Hopes were at least mild, but no one could guess what would happen next. Goldberg feasted on Lesnar, much like Lesnar did to Cena a few years back at SummerSlam. Shocking would be an understatement, being that Lesnar was basically the Thanos in WWE at this point. This was truly best for business though, as this would lead both men to have a trio of matches that made us all forget the mishap at Madison Square Garden. Number 3. Bret Hart vs. Stone Cold Steve Austin. WWE has a very interesting through line through every downturn in its history, in which they have a handful of performers putting on barn burners during creatively bankrupt times. Enter Stone Cold Steve Austin and Bret the Hitman Hart. In 1996, WCW was on the top of their game with the hot NWO. Nitro was consistently topping Raw in the ratings and in coolness. After Vince McMahon added more green to Bret Hart's bank account than a vegan salad bar, the Hitman requested that his return program be with Stone Cold in order to elevate him to a main event star. While the Hitman went over here using his veteran skill to best Austin, these two put on this classic match and many others, aiding in Stone Cold becoming the household name we all know today. Number 2. The first Elimination Chamber. It's truly rare to have a first-time stipulation match go over right out of the gate and have the longevity as the Elimination Chamber has. The brainchild of Triple H, the first ever Elimination Chamber match was the hellish offspring of Hell in a Cell meets the Royal Rumble. It is an all-timer, even given the growing pains of the stipulation. These range from slight hiccups like Kane's pod opening too soon and then basically having to call the match in the middle of the ring, to the extremes of Triple H getting his windpipe crushed by an RVD 5-star frog splash. All things considered, these 6 brave pioneering wrestling souls put on a fantastic bout. The true star here in the inaugural match was the recently returned Shawn Michaels, after being forced to retire due to losing his smile and battling many of his personal demons. The Heartbreak Kid was able to come back and win the World Heavyweight Championship in the same building he lost his WWF title so many years ago. Brown Shawn Michaels tights and all, it is truly an all-timer and a spectacle to behold. And finally, our number 1 unforgettable WWE Survivor Series moment, the first ever War Games match. This might be the recency bias talking here, but I truly believe that War Games saved Survivor Series as a pay-per-view concept. The Brand Warfare tagline was well past its expiration date, and rumors stated that Vince was thinking about axing the pay-per-view altogether. Enter Triple H Creative. WWE in the past had been resistant to any match type not created within the walls of Titan Towers. While the creator of the match, Dusty Rhodes, does have a long history within WWE, the match concept just feels right for this show. We've already seen the kind of storytelling that can be had within the traditional Survivor Series elimination tag match if the story is done well. But the War Games match gives you so much more freedom to interweave storylines a little bit easier, and the sight of the double cage itself has the same presence as a Hell in a Cell or an Elimination Chamber. The first time this match concept was done outside of NXT was not only a spectacle to behold in a physical sense, but a spectacle in the ring with the storytelling. As we witness the Bloodline reach their arguable climax here. The match-long story of Sami Zayn gaining the trust of the Bloodline, and more specifically Jey Uso's trust, the War Games Games cage forced them to work out their differences without any of their group members involved. The final moments of Sami stopping the ref's count as Kevin Owens is about to pin the Tribal Chief Roman Reigns and then stabbing him in the back was so shocking given that it was the other way around for a majority of both men's careers. As Owens' lifeless body leans into Zayn, the honorary Uce feeds into the Tribal Chief, making him a full member of the Bloodline and selling his soul to the Island of Relevancy. Cinema at its finest. And that is our list for the top 10 most unforgettable WWE Survivor Series moments. What is one of your favorite Survivor Series moments? Let us know in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and suplex that like button so you don't miss our next video. This has been Extreme League Wrestling, and we'll catch you next time.